Once upon a time, in a small town, there lived a young man named Ethan. He grew up in a modest family, where every penny counted, and dreams often seemed like a luxury. His father worked long hours at a factory, and his mother took care of the household while doing small jobs to make ends meet. From a young age, Ethan realized that life wasn't going to hand him anything easily, and if he wanted something, he had to fight for it. In school, Ethan struggled. He wasn't the top student, and sometimes he felt invisible among his peers. There were days he wanted to give up, thinking he would never amount to anything. But deep inside, he carried a spark, a quiet voice telling him, "You are meant for something greater. You just have to find your path." One day, while walking home from school, he saw a group of kids gathered around an old man showing them a small mechanical device he had built. Ethan was mesmerized. It was simple yet clever, and the old man explained how he had spent years learning, failing, and trying again until he created it. Ethan felt a fire ignite in him. He realized that success wasn't about talent alone, it was about persistence, effort, and believing in yourself even when no one else did. From that day on, Ethan dedicated himself to learning. He borrowed books, watched online tutorials, and experimented with every small thing he could find. Days turned into months, and months into years. He failed countless times, breaking more machines than he could count, facing ridicule from friends who told him he was wasting his time. But each failure only made him stronger, more determined, and smarter. At 18, Ethan faced his first major life challenge. His father fell seriously ill, and the family could barely afford the medical bills. Ethan considered dropping everything and getting a job, but he remembered the old man's words, "Success comes to those who fight through the storms, not to those who run from them." So, he found ways to balance work, school, and caring for his family. Some nights, he studied under the dim light of a single bulb while his father slept beside him in pain. Exhaustion weighed him down, yet he never let it break his spirit. Ethan's efforts began to bear fruit when he invented a small device that could save energy in homes, something simple yet revolutionary for his town. He presented it to a local business, who laughed at first but eventually saw its potential. That day, Ethan learned a crucial lesson: the world won't always notice your efforts immediately, but persistence will eventually create opportunities. Success, however, did not come overnight. He faced betrayals, setbacks, and moments of self-doubt that could have shattered his confidence. Investors who promised support vanished, his first product failed in the market. Many would have given up. But Ethan reminded himself every morning of why he started, the dreams he carried as a young boy, the sacrifices of his parents, and the spark that refused to die. Ethan's story also teaches the power of helping others. Every time he succeeded, he made it a point to mentor young kids in his town, showing them that obstacles are not dead ends but stepping stones. He taught them that failure is not the enemy, it is a teacher. The community began to recognize him not just for his inventions, but for the hope and inspiration he provided. As years went by, Ethan expanded his knowledge, learning business, leadership, and innovation. He faced global challenges, competing against bigger corporations with endless resources. But what he had that they often lacked was resilience, the ability to keep going when the odds were stacked against him. He learned to treat every obstacle as a lesson, every rejection as redirection, and every failure as a sign to work smarter. One of his greatest breakthroughs came when he designed a renewable energy solution that transformed the lives of countless families. His invention wasn't just about profit, it was about impact, proving that true success is measured not by wealth, but by the positive change you create in the world. Through his journey, Ethan discovered that motivation is not a one-time spark, it is a habit. Every morning, he reminded himself of his goals, visualized the life he wanted, and acted with discipline, courage, and patience. He learned that even when the world doubts you, even when people laugh, the voice inside that says, "Keep going," is your most powerful ally. By the time Ethan reached 35, he had faced more challenges than most people do in a lifetime. Yet, he had grown stronger, wiser, and more compassionate. He understood that life's greatest lessons come from the toughest struggles. Every setback, every sleepless night, every tear shed in frustration was a building block for the man he had become. Today, Ethan's story serves as a beacon of hope. He reminds us that dreams are not impossible if you are willing to work tirelessly, believe deeply, and persist relentlessly. He teaches that failure is not the opposite of success, it is a part of it. And most importantly, he shows that the human spirit is capable of extraordinary achievements when fueled by courage, perseverance, and an unwavering belief in oneself. So, if you are facing challenges today, remember Ethan. Remember that obstacles are temporary, that every small effort counts, and that your journey, no matter how difficult, is molding you into someone extraordinary. Keep pushing, keep dreaming, and never, ever give up, because the person you are becoming is worth every struggle.